6:52 p.m. And I'm in accordance with the requirements of open meeting law. Please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast over the Lunenburg Public Access Channel. We're going to go immediately into executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel and to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. And we will be back in regular session once that executive session is done. To recognize me. Okay. For my chair's report. I'm going to try not to cry, okay? I'm not kidding.
I drove by and I cried at all.
Yeah, I'm not, so.
Are these all set?
No, I need to.
No, I have to
Things just
sign.
made.
No, I have to sign. I'd sign at 10.
It was busy evening.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome. So I just wanted to take a moment to recognize Denise Callaway, who we lost last week suddenly, and we're going to take a moment of silence. She was here with us at our last meeting for her retirement, and she will be greatly missed by everyone in the Lunenburg School District. So let's just remember Denise fondly. Okay. Good. So now we're on to our first public comment, which is agenda items. Do we have any public that wants to make a comment? No? Okay, we have warrants to review and approve and line item transfers. Is that correct?
No line item transfers this
Okay.
evening, just warrants.
Okay, and they're circulating for approval. We have minutes to approve from the June 5th regular session.
They are not ready.
No, I didn't think so.
No.
Okay. I was wondering. I'm like, I don't remember seeing those. We have a superintendent's report.
Yes, so I wanted to provide an update. I did attend the planning board meeting on June 10th. They continue to work forward, meeting the terms of the that were put upon the conditions through the court for the development at Howard Street. One thing that I would raise for your consideration is that given the impact that housing developments have on the district, you may want to consider having a liaison from this board to the planning board. Just something for you to consider.
Do you remember when did they meet? Mondays? Or is it once every 3 weeks?
I'm not sure about the frequency,
Was
but
that the 4-hour meeting?
it was rather lengthy, yes. There was a lot of discussion.
I did watch that on YouTube, and which kind of brings up another thing, in terms of liaison. The Board of Selectmen have been having this discussion as well as to whether or not people needed to actually go to the meetings or if they could watch the replays on public access.
As the
as opposed
liaison.
to going and then report back to the board on whole what was happening. So that may be an option for something like this as well.
Agreed.
Yeah. Because they are lengthy.
It was lengthy, and there's a lot of...
Yeah.
They spent a lot of time talking about trees and the scenic roads, which...
And as a liaison, you're not a participant in the meeting unless there's relevant public comment that you would need to make. And if you knew based on agenda that there likely wouldn't be, then I would think that it's not a necessity to physically be there.
So something to consider. I wanted to be able to report back to you on educator plan goals across the district. So every principal has reported back to me their assessment of the level of completion of all of the goals from the staff in their buildings. I've summarized that for you, as well as provided you some information relative to the completion level of goals for district-level administrators and principals. So at this point, combined at the middle high school, 60% of student learning goals have been met or exceeded, 60% of professional practice goals have been met or exceeded at Turkey Hill, 60% completion at the level of met or exceeded for both student learning goal and professional practice goal. At the primary school, 66% met or exceeded the student learning goal, and 95% met or exceeded a professional practice goal. I do know that Mr. McKenna had the entire staff focused on literacy for the building, and they worked with team goals. So that actually can be quite impactful. At the district level, 50% met or exceeded on student learning goals, and professional practice goals the same, 50%. I just want to provide a little bit of a caveat here. It's important to note that many teachers and some administrators are on a 2-year evaluation cycle. Many of them are completing year 1, so we would not expect them to have met their goals at the end of year 1 for a 2-year goal. So that does have an impact on the percentages reported for you this evening. However, it was also reported to me that those who are working on 2-year goals, most did make significant progress towards those goals. So while the numbers maybe aren't quite what we would like to see, the actual progress is quite good. The Mass Executive Institute is the annual conference for superintendents hosted by the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents, and that will be July 9th through the 11th, and I will be attending. This year we conducted pilots. At Turkey Hill, we conducted the Kylie's Care Kits for Kids pilot, and that was successful. We also had a breakfast pilot at the middle school. The reports are that these pilots, we had a consistent number of students that were availing themselves of this kind of support. We're looking to expand these types of offerings for next year. We'll work out the details, and I'll get back to you with details for what that might look like. I also want to acknowledge some staff. I want to express my deepest gratitude for the way that the staff responded to the devastating loss we experienced last week. District-wide, staff set aside their grief to focus on students and supporting one another. I must thank the primary school staff who dug deep, managed their emotions, and did an extraordinary job giving all that they had to their students last week. They were simply amazing. I also want to thank the staff who came to the primary school last Tuesday, prepared to support colleagues in whatever way was needed. Their efforts made a significant difference for the primary staff, students, and families. I'm extremely grateful for the way that Jeff Dion, Lori Shea, Cheryl Nelson, Sue Cavioli, Allison Pigeon, and Karen Savell collaborated to draft scripts for staff to use with students and assisted with communications and gathering of resources for parents. They also spent time cruising through the building to check on their colleagues in classrooms. They were an amazing team. Karma Tusignant, Rob McGrath, Annika Scott, Heidi Champagne, and Gail Okerman became the skeleton crew to offer support to staff and students at the middle school and the Turkey Hill. I am in awe of the way that Penny Borneman and Mary Beth Elf were able to jump right in and keep the primary school office running on Tuesday, as if they had always been a part of that staff. Again, simply amazing. Carolyn Finch, our nurse leader in the district, did a spectacular job supporting nurse Lisa Lavery and caring for our youngest students. Tim Santry did a phenomenal job supporting Steve McKenna and Chad Adams. As soon as he walked into the office, he grabbed a radio and headed out to greet students at arrival, and then shortly thereafter, because it was a delayed opening, he headed into the cafeteria for lunch duty. You would think that he had been the administrator for the building always. We had several teachers, Lisa Sozik, Alexis Bouquet, Lauren Portillo, Lisa LeBlanc, Tim Shays Green, Peggy Proctor, and Mary Foyle, all reported to the primary and did a fantastic job jumping in and helping where needed. Jill Blaisdell and Cindy DeCantis, both retired primary school principals, came to the primary last Tuesday morning and were there all week, helping out in the office. It's a true testament to their love for the staff. And last but not least, the central office team, Liz Peterson, Fran McCluskey, Mike Cassidy, and Juliana Hanscom provided support to staff and administration at the primary in ways big and small, starting in the early hours of the morning Tuesday and through the rest of the week, where we also got additional devastating news of another loss for the primary school family, with Jen Nass's daughter's passing on Friday morning. There's something to be grateful for, even in times of great loss, and in this situation, I am truly grateful that the staff rallied to support each other while keeping the students as their central focus. It was extraordinary. And I also want to thank everyone, the entire community, the faculty, staff, families, students, town departments, community organization leaders for making my first year here so extraordinary. I feel very fortunate to have been so warmly welcomed into this community. I feel like I've found my home here in Lunenburg, and I'm very excited about the work that we will do in year 2. And that's all I have.
Thanks. So we have new business, the spring 2020 music trip to initial approval. Ms. Wardwell?
So this is just initial approval, and this is just an example of an itinerary. I am looking for approval to start or continue kind of working on the details on a trip to Philadelphia with the band and chorus students. In the past 10 years or so, we've been to New York twice, Boston, and then the most recent trip was to Nashville, which was amazing. And initially, I was thinking and working on some details to go to Montreal and try to team up with Jessie Beardmore in the French department. And I think it's just going to be too complicated, so I switched my focus. And so this is still a work in progress in talking to this Peak Performance Tours, but also Explorica, whom I know Jessie Beardmore has used, and Suburban Tours, trying to find the best itinerary, best price. It would be open to band and chorus students. The goal is to keep it about $700 to $800, which is about half the price of our last trip. And the goal is that every other year, when we travel, we would offer a smaller trip or a more affordable trip like this, although $700 is still a lot. We'd be looking for 3 nights and 4 days where they would get to do a lot of sightseeing. It would certainly include a performance, and one of the things I'm most excited about is that we had a group from Allentown, New Jersey visit in March, and we had set up an exchange concert with them. The director is a friend of Jeff Sheldon's, and so he and I were in contact. We rehearsed the same music with our students separately, and then as part of their spring trip en route to the St. Patty's Day parade in Boston, they stopped here first. We had done email pals with the students, and so they had already met each other via email, and then they got off the bus, and it was like they had been friends forever. It was the coolest thing. And so we rehearsed together and did a little performance together. And by going to Philadelphia, Allentown would be our first stop. And so this itinerary doesn't include that because, again, the company doesn't have those details, but we would stop there first and then continue with our Philadelphia sightseeing, Hershey Park, and then head home on the 4th day. And because of the Allentown visit, I'm also looking at the next week. So it would, if we go with those dates, it would be during our school vacation. So I'm looking at April 22nd to April 25th. So at that point, the students wouldn't miss any school. We would offer fundraising, and Gators offer scholarships for students that, want that extra financial assistance, and have certainly participated in their music department community service to offset the cost. Certainly, we'd love to fill a bus, and that certainly drops the cost for all the students. So I know with our Nashville trip, we did offer up, at full cost to any parents that wanted to come along and follow the same itinerary. Nobody took us up on that offer. But They should have. It was amazing. But we would offer the same thing because that would lower the cost for the students, and they would have to follow the same itinerary, but they would get to see the students perform. And just like the Allentown families that were with that band when they came here, our parents and chaperones would get to experience that. And in working with a director from Allentown, because we would be traveling with band and chorus students, we would coordinate with their choral director as well, so there would be an instrumental and vocal component, at least of that visit. Our hope is to either attend a concert, and in this sample itinerary, it includes the Philadelphia Orchestra. I don't know what is available by changing the date, but this company pairs with Westchester University for some clinics or master classes. Depending on the number of students and the instrumentation of the students that do come along, public performance is often an option, which we've done, but we've also, in some unique situations, not had the right number of instruments to actually perform in a public venue. So we've done musical theater master classes, not a closed door, but kind of like a workshop with a Broadway conductor, where it didn't matter if we didn't have the exact right voicing or the same instrumentation we normally have, it was still effective for the students that were there, and they got the most out of it. So this is just for initial approval, so I can continue planning, start talking with the students, and kind of set up a game plan for the fall.
Any questions?
I think it looks great.
I want to thank you for doing this, for your passion. You can definitely hear it in your voice. I like the idea of being able to do it over vacation time. I think there's a lot of stress on students with work and missing time in class. But obviously, if the availability is not there for the events that you want to go to, it makes sense.
Right.
But if it's possible to do it over vacation time, it's a bonus.
Yeah, initially with the first set of dates, I was hoping it wouldn't be an issue with Allentown, but their break is the week before us, so they wouldn't be in school, so that didn't work. So yeah, I'm hoping the later dates do work.
No? Good?
I'm good.
So I just need a motion to approve the initial presentation.
Sure, I can make a motion to approve the initial presentation of the high school music trip to Philadelphia in the Hershey area, and I can't say that in the
Nope,
motion.
not-
Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then I'll be back.
Yeah.
And good luck with
Yeah.
that.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Primary and Turkey Hill Elementary School handbook final approval. Do you both want to come up?
Mr.
Who wants to go?
McKenna and Mrs. Champagne are both here.
Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Champagne, Turkey Hill Elementary School.
Stephen Kevin, primary school interim principal for
Few more weeks.
the next few minutes.
Is that it?
Are we counting down now?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, my gosh. I
Yeah.
thought he had it till that, but okay, that's awesome.
That's why
Last day.
I know, but he always has a smile like that, so it's hard to tell if he's smart. Yes, he is just always smiling.
In terms of the elementary school handbook, I don't believe there were any significant changes. I think we just updated some names in the front, but I don't recall doing anything of note changes. I think it was pretty straightforward and went right through.
We did get some suggested edits from Mr. Leighton that
For the primary?
we will implement. Yep.
For the primary.
Or the Turkey Hill.
I think it's for the primary, just the primary.
And the school improvement plan for Turkey Hill.
I was going to close the door.
Again, goal 1, working on developing and implementing an effective school-wide literacy action plan for improving student proficiency in reading and writing. We started a literacy, I don't think task force was the right
Team.
word. Team, thank you. And so we've met a couple times as a pre-K to 5 group, and made some plans, introduced the pilot that we started at Turkey Hill in terms of the Reader's Workshop, And then I had a full day professional development for my 4th and 5th grade teachers around that. So we're really looking to start to implement that this fall for our grade 4 and 5, based on the success of 3rd grade. So goal 1 is really trying to move that forward. Goal 2, continuing to work on social emotional learning, prevention programs, so school security. Continuing with Alice and Tiger and responsive classroom, some of the stuff we learned from the Yale Emotional Intelligence Group, and kind of an exciting piloting of a software program that we're going to try between October and December. So what it does basically is it creates a team for students. So that would include administration, guidance, psychologist, nurse, special education teacher, and classroom teacher. And then it would keep us in communication throughout the day as things occur for that child. So for example, child's dropped off in the morning at the street, the car drop off where I'm standing, and his hood is up and his head is down and he's looking despondent. I can pull out my cell phone and pull up this program and mark his emotional state, and that information would immediately go to the team. And so throughout the day, his demeanor, his affect, his behavior would be reportable. The point of it is for people to be able to intervene early. So before he has a full-on behavioral incident, 3rd period, where he throws his books and he's extremely upset, one of the team members would have been able to come and approach him earlier and check in with him. How's it going? What's happening? Try to make that connection. So the program is called Emote, and of course I've given you the 20-second version of what it is. But I think it's really interesting possibility. So we're looking to, it's a free pilot, and we're looking to pilot it at all of the schools. And depending on which teachers are even interested in checking it out. It's not going to be like, all right, everybody, this is what we're doing. But maybe 1 or 2 teachers per grade, and just getting it set up and seeing what sort of success it has, and seeing if we can track data on kids. But again, as an early intervention model. So, sorry, I just went off on a tangent there, but that's part of goal 2. And finally, goal 3 is around planning and managing PD opportunities that ensure well-targeted individual and district-wide professional growth as evidenced by staff feedback. So really started it this year trying to track the PD that my staff was interested in and attended, tried to find opportunities that I thought that they would enjoy, that I thought they would be connected to, and offer those or point out those with some degree of success. I know there's actually a PD team, task force team, okay, district-wide, that's going to take that on as well. But I want to continue to work on that for my staff. So those are the 3 goals. Kristen?
Nope. Any questions? That was out of order.
Yeah,
she totally jumped.
I closed the door because there's so much noise.
Yeah, that was-
But that was out of order, so.
So-
I know. You were applying your school handbook, and then you did the other, you just jumped right in.
Sorry, can you just rewind that?
I know.
So one we're voting on, one we're not.
Right.
Correct. Okay.
Well,
Handbook we're voting on.
correct. The handbook, we're approving that. The school improvement plans aren't going to come to us anyway until the fall. That was just an initial to keep us up to date, because those are they're going to work on them all summer, and then in the fall we'll be approving them
I want to
anyway.
make sure, because we did.
Yes.
We did have some.
Yes, and I noted it, and I wrote it. I knew. I was like, that was out of order, and yes. But that's okay. No, and we weren't gonna. You were so excited and enthusiastic about your goals and your
Nice to hear
plan.
about.
So I wasn't gonna say ho.
Okay.
Rein it in there, Miss Champagne.
Now I'm moving.
Yeah, no. That was a good presentation. That was really nice. Yeah. So, Steve, yeah. No, you're going to tell us about your handbook. Wait, and we're going to vote on both of them at the same time. They're in the same agenda item.
Yes, they are.
So,
Which was presented at the last
Yes.
school committee meeting or two school committee
Yes.
meetings ago.
Yeah.
I don't think that there were any significant changes
No.
reflected
But-
from that conversation.
Right. Actually, the middle and high school were on the agenda last meeting.
So they were
The
the ones-
primary and the Turkey Hill that were on the agenda for this evening for your review and approval.
Okay.
Yes.
So, does anybody have any questions? Did you? No,
I think
right?
we-
They were small, and it
We
was
just had everything on here that we
consistency.
had, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and, you know, and then I do see that we reference specific policy numbers, which is nice in there, too.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. The only thing between all the
Mhm.
3 or 4 schools, I'd like to see consistent.
Right.
But that's
That's
really the
formatting,
priority.
yeah.
That's priority.
So this summer, we're actually going to try to get some of the school secretaries together as a bit of a handbook committee, if you will, and talk about the sequence and try to make sure that things are consistent, and there's a consistent format across the district. So that work will start this summer, so that by the time we're presenting next spring,
They should all be.
they'll look
Okay.
different, but they'll all look the same.
Right.
They'll look different from what they are currently.
Okay.
There are some things that aren't, I'm not going to be able to find it as I'm flipping, but my notes say, why is grade 6 to 12 email accounts included? There's something about grade 6 to 12 email accounts in here, and if I find it, I'll tell you. And I just was wondering why that
Primary?
was
Parent handbook?
included in this handbook, because it didn't make sense to me. But I'll keep looking at it, find it. I think it was towards the end, and it could have just...
In which one, the
I'm sorry,
primary
I started at the
school?
bottom, I'm looking for it.
Copy and pasted and
The primary school one?
was, see now I'm not, oh, here it is. It's on page 29, second to last page. It says email accounts for grade 6 to 12. No student will be assigned an email account without parental or guardian approval. And I didn't know if something got copied and pasted
Maybe.
extra, or if, do the kids in the primary school have email accounts? In which case, should that, I wouldn't think so. So that should, so I'm thinking that probably doesn't belong there.
Wait, where is it? 29?
On 29.
It's the second to last page.
I was on the school improvement plan, sorry.
And the text is
Oh,
on
I
the
see it.
last page, and the header is the very bottom of the second to last page.
Yep.
And
We
I
can
was
strike
just a
that.
little confused by that. And I
yeah, I
just
don't
figured
know.
it was an extra copy and paste that got out of hand, So, or was it
Well,
something I
it's
didn't
in
know?
the privacy section.
Well, see,
so
that's
I'm
what
wondering
I'm
if-
wondering, but...
That's none of the acceptable technology used for students. I'm
Yeah,
wondering
so
if
is it
that-
a part of that broad thing? Does the whole thing go in? I mean, it didn't make sense to me, so I was just...
No, I get it, but it might be part
But
of
it
the whole.
might be part of
Yeah.
something that can't be split up. I don't know.
What's under school committee policies?
Yeah.
It's like the title of the initial is school committee policies, and then it goes into our
Chapter
policies.
622,
Yeah.
504.
So it's probably part of our policies, just copied and
so
pasted
therefore
right
it can't
next to
be
there?
split up.
Correct.
Okay,
Well,
then that explains,
probably
but it
split
just
up,
seems
start
odd to
referencing
me.
it.
But it's part of something bigger, and so be it.
And I don't know if that policy as copied here actually reflects what may have been updated from school committee. We'd have to compare the two.
Yeah, my recollection around policy updates really did not impact this piece.
No, I don't remember that
I
either.
don't remember. I thought it was
No.
misleading.
No, I don't remember if you're talking about email addresses.
But it may be a good idea to strike the email accounts for grades 6 to 12 component in this handbook.
But
But if it's part of the
referring part of the
whole
policy.
section
It's a whole
on
section.
that.
See, that's what...
Yeah.
And that's fine, it just seemed that...
Well, I think maybe that's something to look for when
Yeah.
you're making...
When we make it
Yeah.
uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever is in school committee
Yeah.
policies would be in all handbooks
Would be,
moving
right.
forward.
It has a thing about smoking as well.
Right.
Well, it also
Student
has the
lockers
service
and-
student lockers.
You know, it's...
But it's
Right.
desks and lockers,
Yeah.
so
That's their lockers,
hence...
So that could be, and the smoking would also include...
They don't really have, they have
So-
cubbies.
I mean,
Do
I figured a way
searching of
around it,
cubbies?
But
You
there's
know, they
desks
have-
in second
Right.
grade, you'd have
They
a
don't-
desk.
They don't have, do they store
They have
stuff in the
cubbies.
desk? They have cubbies.
I mean, they don't
Up to
have
second
them.
grade. They have the cubby room, their closet room.
So-
And they have desks.
Yeah, it looks like this is just a whole
Yeah,
section brought
it's
over.
just
Okay, I just,
Yeah, no, it's, yeah, I was confused too, but...
that's all.
Well, I think moving forward in the handbooks, there maybe could be an addendum that includes school committee policies.
right.
Then it would be more of a visual cue to families as they're reading through that this just applies district-wide, so.
Right.
Right. Okay. So with that, I need a motion to approve the primary and Turkey Hill Elementary School handbooks.
I'll make a motion to approve the primary and Turkey Hill School handbooks.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. And then you're going to
I
have
need to
to...
come back.
You have to come back. You get to come back, and then you're done. And then you're done.
I'll wait for you.
Extended day late pickup option and bus release waiver.
So as you know, I've been working on additional options for parents with the changes that resulted from the extended day program being sort of redefined. So at this point, I'm not proposing any changes to the extended day program that was approved by the school committee back in April. But based on the feedback that I received from parents at that extended day forum that I held in May, I am proposing some additional options. So I'm proposing an early drop-off option. Parents would have to register their children and commit to a schedule. They would drop their child or children off at TCP between 8 and 8:25. The reason for that short window of time for drop-off is that at that point, we're going to be transitioning to getting students ready to load buses to go to the Turkey Hill or the primary school. So we have to cut off a time for drop-offs. It introduces a bit of chaos if the bus is in the driveway and we've got parents dropping off at the same time. So that drop-off would be between 8 and 8:25. The fee would be $5 per day. The enrollment under this option would be considered part of the 100-student enrollment that was approved for the extended day model, because we can't secure additional staffing for the morning. Transportation would be provided by D-Bus from TCP in the morning to the Turkey Hill and the primary school. I'm proposing this as an option just for the upcoming year. We will certainly monitor and gather data, but I don't want to mislead parents. This is a proposal for the upcoming year. What happens beyond that, I'm not guaranteeing that this is a model that we can sustain. And again, I'm unable to staff a drop-off option at Turkey Hill and the primary school in the morning. The challenges for staffing in the morning for extended day have always been significant. So this is the best additional option I can provide for parents. I'm proposing a late pickup option. So this would be after school. Parents, again, must register their children. They have to commit to a schedule. Which days of the week would their children be participating? Students would report to and stay in the cafeteria in each of the schools, the Turkey Hill and the primary, at dismissal time. There would be an adult staff member there for supervision up to 1 hour following dismissal. Parents would still have to come into the building to sign out their child when they come to pick them up. Based on the fact that this is a 1-hour option, or up to a 1-hour option, this option would be available at Turkey Hill until 4:10 and available at the primary until 4:20. This is not a program. There would not be any scheduled activities or staff available for homework help. Students certainly could begin their homework in the cafeteria, but I cannot staff to the level that I could provide that kind of support. Again, this would be a $5 per day. If parents are late, so they arrive at 4:21, 4:22, there would be an additional late charge because I would have to hold the staff at the building and pay the staff. And if this becomes a pattern where we've seen, a third late pickup, there's a possibility that the child would no longer be eligible to participate in the late pickup offering. Again, this is a model that I'm putting on the table for the upcoming year. We can monitor how this program works, we can gather more data, but I'm proposing it for the upcoming year. Additionally, some of the feedback that came from parents indicated that the reason that they require extended day, and they require maybe only 10 to 15, 20 minutes of extended day, is because they're always lagging behind the bus stop time. They can't make it home in time to meet their child at the bus stop. So as a result, they have to put their child in extended day. So an option that I met with folks from D-Bus and had a conversation with our legal counsel, and the recommendation is that a parent may sign consent to release their student, a primary school age student or a Turkey Hill age student, at the bus stop to an older sibling. We currently don't require parents to meet middle schoolers as they get off the bus. So the legal counsel advised that the older sibling be at least 6th grade. If there were a different person of at least that age, that the parents wanted to sign consent to release their child at the bus stop, they would have that option. And this consent to release the child at the bus stop would be drafted by our legal counsel. Obviously, if these options are approved this evening, we will get word out this evening to parents. We will send the registration for the late pickup, the early drop-off tonight, so that they can complete a registration, get it back to us within a week's time, so that we can honor our commitment to let parents know by July 1st what their placement would be. And I also provided you some verbiage that we would include in the different handbooks, Turkey Hill, the primary, where we would include that language, also the extended day handbook, if you approve some or all of these options. That language is ready to go to be added to the handbook.
Okay.
So during the forum, it sounds like, and I wasn't there, so on purpose, because I didn't
I
want
was
to
not
create,
there
I didn't
either.
want to create what could appear to be an impromptu meeting. Was the primary issue the late pickup?
No, not necessarily. Many parents felt that the block billing created an increase, essentially, for them. Past practice has been, short time, there's no charge at all. But we're staffing.
Right.
Um,
Which I
right.
supported at the time, and I still support
Right.
that.
So there was a lot of concern about the fact that essentially, even though we're not increasing the hourly rate by moving to the block billing, we're increasing their cost. And again, many parents indicated that they just need a short amount of time. And one of the other concerns was, the as-needed registrations that we've experienced for the last several years create a huge fluctuation on any given day, and you can't plan for or staff for when you don't know if students are coming until the day of. So they wanted that level of flexibility as well, and not having to make a commitment to a schedule. Again, that creates a significant staffing challenge for us. So from our perspective, we need to know which children are coming, how many children are coming, so that we can have the appropriate amount of staff available.
And space.
And space.
If you fluctuate by 20 or more children on a given day.
Right.
And I think if you look around at not only other school districts, preschools, daycares, this has become the norm.
Right.
This transition is not unique to us in any way.
Right.
Now, I'm noticing that each of these options require pre-registration.
Right.
Now, the pre-registration for, say, after the late pickup is $5 a day, set schedule. So I tell you I want these 2 days.
Right.
I pay you $10.
Right.
Okay. And if I say, oh, you know what, I need it on this third day accidentally because my boss called me and I got to run to the office or something.
That's part of the
that's
challenge.
an
We're
option.
moving away from the as-needed.
Okay.
Right.
So that's not an option then
Right.
for the as-needed, which I understand because
Yeah.
of the fluctuations and the safety and making sure that we've got the right level of adult to child supervision
Correct.
going on.
Right. So I would know from the registrations that come in how many staff I need to have available. We did take a look at, the data. That was another thing. The parents were concerned that I hadn't conducted a survey to find out about what they needed. I felt that I didn't need to do a survey to find out what they needed because currently we're offering a program that meets their needs, whatever their needs are. Impromptu, as-needed registration, flexibility that this week is Monday and Tuesday, but next week could be Thursday and Friday. There's an enormous amount of flexibility. Again, really short time, there was no charge. So I can see by the attendance and sign-out patterns how many students we typically have for what type of duration. And when we did an analysis of that, the logs for attendance, we see that we anticipate approximately 25 students in each building, give or take a few, realizing that the fifth grade is moving on and won't be in the mix, and we have new incoming kindergartners that we don't have a pattern for yet. We anticipate around 25 students in each building would avail themselves of that 1 hour late pickup, that they fall into that 1 hour or less pattern. So we figure that we'll be able to meet the needs, and we'll see what the registrations look like. But essentially, we're not committing to the late pickup or the early drop-off to a certain number, like a ratio of adults to students. I'm moving more on the ratio of a classroom. You'd have one teacher to
25.
approximately 25 students, give or take. So that's the model. Again, it's not a program. There would not be planned activities for students. Yes, we can have, buckets of books that they could, take and read, or materials for coloring and that sort of thing. Certainly, students can sit down in the cafeteria, Turkey Hill age particularly, and start their homework. I just cannot staff to support so that they have help with any of that, or they have activities with that. And many of that anticipated 25, most of them would be moving on out the door probably within the first 20 minutes or so. So the numbers should come down pretty quickly. It just provides another option for parents that essentially, even though we're not changing the hourly rate, it reduces the amount of money that they would have to put out
And this
for
is in
the
addition to the structured extended day.
extended day that would stay at
has the
TCP.
activities
Yes.
and everything else. So that
And the
will stay in
homework help.
place.
Mhm.
This is I just need 20
Short
minutes
time.
or a half hour
Yep.
between
An hour or
getting
less.
work and picking up my kid.
Mhm.
So does this fall under the extended day program or just the
It will-
school district?
It will fall under that umbrella in terms of parents, when they pay, the monies will go into
The
that
extended
same
day
account.
Okay.
The paraprofessionals that we will use to staff
Mhm.
the late
The extra,
pickup
yeah.
will be paid out of that account.
Okay,
So
Be self-funded.
self-funded.
okay.
Again, that was something that I, communicated to the families that evening, is that it needs to be self-funded. I need to be able to staff the program appropriately, and I need to bring some level of structure, an element of learning to the program, bring it back to TCP, where when they had multiple classrooms, they had different activities designed for different rooms. There was some level of structure and opportunity for learning, which becomes significant in terms of the challenge when you're in a cafeteria with 80 children at the primary level.
So the after-school option, I'm just wanting to make sure everything is
Mhm.
clear. We are in two different locations.
Yep.
Yep.
We're TCP and then we're at
The two schools,
Or the two
right.
different schools plus TCP is where the
The structured program.
The structured program.
So there is a cap there of 100 students.
Correct.
There is no cap at the primary and the elementary school.
Correct.
For this extended 1-hour time period.
Right.
Correct. If registrations continue to come in throughout the year and I get to a place where I don't have any more available staff, but I feel I need additional staff, if we continue to take new registrations, I may come to you and say, at this point, we have more students, let's say in excess of 40. I can't secure more than 2 staff, so I really feel uncomfortable accepting additional registrations above and beyond 40.
Okay.
So if I get to a place where I feel that the staffing ratio is not something that I feel is appropriate, I may be back to say I need to close off enrollment for the late pickup option. I don't anticipate that that's going to be the problem, but I would like to leave that door open.
And it should be. But now compared to the morning, it's
Mhm.
all at TCP.
Correct, because
And that
I don't
is-
have enough
and-
staff.
And the extended day morning structured is 100 cap, but any other students that are coming in as this drop-off period also is included in that
They'll be
100.
part of that 100. So at this point, we have currently 87 registrations for the morning at TCP.
So we have room for 13.
However, I believe, based on patterns of use, that there will be a good chunk of that 87 that once this, I can drop you off at 8 o'clock and pay $5, they would
They would shift
transition to
over.
that option. So even though they're shifting to the option, I think that the number of kiddos in the morning is going to remain fairly steady. There may be some parents who see this new option for that, I can drop you off at 8 o'clock and say, oh, all right, I'm going to take advantage of this option. Hadn't previously registered for the morning, we may see some new students register, but I would I would be surprised if most of our kiddos aren't already registered and they would just opt for the lesser time, the lesser fee.
I think a lot of parents did register for fear of losing a spot.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
At least what I saw on
Yep.
social media, the one
Yep.
page that I've seen.
I mean, obviously, if we, find out that there are 105 students that have registered, I think that we can come back and, request to waive the 100 cap so that we could meet the needs of 105 students. If we have 125 students, that's a different ballgame.
I would love to see this on the agenda too, say in January or February, where we can see the data and hear from staff on how it's going, so we know,
Sure.
and we can communicate with the parents, any potential changes early on for
Yeah,
the following year.
But my intention is to communicate to parents this evening that there's no guarantee that these two options that I'm putting on the table this evening
Well,
extend beyond June.
Right, that's a one-year thing, she's just...
Yes.
Right.
It's
Right.
clear here and
So parents should...
clear everywhere.
This, in my mind, closes a gap that's been created by the transition
Right.
in the restructuring of extended day. This, while it won't take care of every unique family situation, it will likely meet the needs of many families. This gives families a year's time to explore other options should these options no longer be available. And honestly, it's my intent that I'm proposing it as 1 year. We can look at data, but the staffing is a challenge. It's a challenge.
And life is about that balance. As adults and as parents, we are responsible for figuring out how to negotiate our lives and how to make things work. This has gone above and beyond, quite honestly. When you look
Yeah,
at
I
other
think
school
so.
districts,
Yeah.
the school day is X amount of time. Above and beyond, if we're able to offer something, that's fantastic, but it is not a given. And
Right.
it does not have to be or look any certain way. And you've been incredibly responsive in trying to offer some other solutions. And, tonight being clear, these are temporary, one-year solutions,
It's a transition year.
transitioning.
Right. Yep.
And, offering names of babysitters at the library, just those outside-of-the-box ideas to help people who are looking for, this is my unique situation, how do I work with it?
Right.
So I
And we did,
appreciate
and I did
all
communicate
you've
out
done.
to families this evening that these were the proposals.
I saw
And
that.
that if they were approved this evening, we would be sending them the registration forms this evening. I also did include in that communication that I held the meeting with the director at the library, who is, on board with providing an opportunity for a child care job fair of sorts in the fall. The library does offer babysitting workshops for teenagers. We also know that the American Red Cross has a babysitting certificate course. They're offering a couple of them this summer in Leominster. So folks who have taken those trainings can put together their first resume and come to their first job fair at the library and, maybe secure themselves some babysitting opportunities. It's a nice opportunity for parents who live in neighborhoods where there aren't teenagers living in the neighborhood to actually go and meet face-to-face some teenagers who might be available for that sort of additional support. And it may not be appropriate in the context of some of the after-school care or even before-school care, but it still doesn't hurt to allow students to grow that way and, help families make some of those connections at the same time. And the Boys and Girls Club is not an option due to the available space, staffing, and funding. So expansion of the Boys and Girls Club program is just not an option.
And I saw something great on social media where some parents had said they might create a group among themselves, whether it be online or wherever, to network together. Perhaps a few families can support each other. If, just those, that creative outside of the box
Right.
thinking to help everybody have their life work.
Now,
Takes a village.
That's my question, though. If suppose some families got together and Mr. Smith is going to take the children every Wednesday afternoon, if it's going to be every Wednesday afternoon, all school year, can the bus bring them?
We can work with the bus company on that.
That's because when I read the handbooks, clearly that's not an option, but I think if it's going to be regularly set up, I don't see any reason why, and all the documentation is provided, and, that...
It becomes a challenge because the student may have to get on a different bus.
Right, and then that becomes an issue, because
Right.
there might not be enough room on that bus. It may
Right.
be that you find out, well, you want to go to bus 8, I'm sorry, we can't do that.
Right.
If the sitter's at bus 6, we can do that, because there's room, I don't know. But I know they do it in other districts where if it's regular, it's not, Susie's having a birthday party, 12 of
Right.
you are going on the bus, you can't be doing that.
Right.
But if it's regular, then I think that could help some people to set these up a little bit.
Potentially. I'm not opposed to looking at that.
Yeah.
Obviously, the bus company will have an awful
Oh,
lot
sure.
to say about
For sure.
whether or not it's feasible.
Yeah.
Any questions on the waiver? I would think that no one has a question on the waiver.
So,
As long as
do you-
the attorney feels that the school district cannot be held responsible as long as the waiver is signed.
Is the bus company then, it releases the
So
bus
if-
company as well?
If we move forward with a consent to release,
Mhm.
and we have that consent form, and once parents sign it, the schools would retain a copy, the bus company would retain a copy, so that they know. But part of that consent is that they would have to identify the individual or individuals to whom the child may be released at the bus
Okay,
stop
so-
if the parent is not there.
Does the bus driver then have to know this person? Or can they just see a visual of the person?
We
Well,
could work on...
Because I don't want the bus
Sure.
company can't be liable
No.
if they are releasing them and then they go off and they see somebody there. How will they
Right.
know that that's the
Well,
person?
I will tell you that in the conversation that I had with the bus
If it's not a
company...
sibling.
There have been times that, a student has felt uncomfortable about getting off a bus.
Yeah.
Let's say a middle school age student, because something didn't look quite right, a car wasn't there, or a different car was there. The bus driver won't let them off if the student isn't comfortable getting off the bus. They'll bring them back to school.
I'm assuming if our attorney is going to draft language on limiting liability for the schools, that these
Essentially, it would...
probably want to add some
yeah.
language limiting their liabilities as well.
We told them that once we had a draft, we would share that with them.
Okay. All right, so I'll take a motion to approve.
I will make a motion to approve the options that were outlined by the superintendent for before and after school care, including the waiver.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you for your creative thinking.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much.
I wish that we had more resources to provide different options, but we just don't.
Okay, no, we don't. Secretary's MOA ratification and sick bank waiver. Mr. Cassidy, will you come?
You want me to move? Yes, where?
Good evening, everyone. There are two votes that are required by the school committee tonight that we're proposing. The number one is
I don't think so.
a memorandum of agreement with the Lunenburg Association of Secretaries and Clerks. Since December, we've been in communication with this union through emails, ultimately meeting and then bargaining to a 3-year contract for the next 3 years with a value of about $25,156. What was negotiated was the first year was a 2.5% increase. The next year and the following year would be 2% each year. Part of that memorandum of agreement is a number of neutral language changes that benefit both parties that we were able to agree upon. It just provided a lot of clarification to both parties moving forward.
The sick bank.
Like I said, we moved forward, we participated in good faith. Both parties worked very well together, demonstrated needs and concerns, and I think we both understood where we were coming from. They were good to work with, and I'm pleased to move this agreement forward to the school committee for ratification.
It's on the same line as sick bank, so you have to go over that too.
Excuse me?
You have to tell us about the sick bank waiver, and then we can vote on both and ratify one, and then...
The second item that the school committee is voting on tonight is a side letter with basically the paraprofessional union. There is a middle school paraprofessional who's extremely ill, recently became ill, and is on a sick leave. She does not qualify for the sick leave bank for a number of reasons. So both parties in good faith agreed to solicit sick leave hours from middle school paraprofessionals at this time. 33 hours were donated by 6 paraprofessionals to this individual to keep this person on the payroll for the rest of the school year. Once again, this is groups coming together for the best interest of individuals. So we want to wish this individual good luck over the summer and get well. And I would ask that the school committee move forward on ratification and approval of this side letter.
I don't think there's anything else to discuss on that.
No.
Right, so,
It's just another instance where this community
rallied.
rallies around each other and
Yeah,
raises each other up.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll take a motion.
So I'll make a motion to accept the Secretary's MOA ratification and sick bank waiver.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and so we need to sign the agreement. It's here. Is it here?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. We have the superintendent's evaluation, which we took part in, we all took part in drafting, and it is public record. It will be posted on the website. This one is redlined, but, so, yeah. Do you guys want to read it out loud, or just let them look at it?
It's quite lengthy.
It is,
And I think it's hard to read a portion or portions out loud in the proper context. I'll
Right.
be very honest about that.
Maybe your wrap-up comments?
Yes, that's what I was thinking, is there a way
Okay.
we can summarize?
This giant
The
section,
overall-
that one? Okay, well, I'm going to have Wendy read it because I'm tired of looking at it. Okay, that was, overall, we rated the Superintendent Burnham proficient. And she met all of her assessed goals: professional practice, student learning, and district improvement. So Wendy will just do the summary
So this is a
Brief summary.
a bottom line summary
Yeah.
of the past year and most sections of the evaluation. During the course of Dr. Burnham's first year as superintendent of Lunenburg School District, she has done an outstanding job dissecting the needs of students, the leadership team, the staff, and the community. The superintendent's commitment to family and community engagement have been hallmarks of her first year. Her thoughtful, comprehensive entry plan has set the tone that this superintendent is focused on the needs of the students. Regarding presence, Dr. Burnham has held numerous forums to engage the community about a variety of topics. She has attended many student events such as class plays, concerts, sporting events, awards assemblies, as well as town meetings such as Finance Committee, Select Board, and Planning Board. She has an open door policy for staff and parents and students and is willing to meet, discuss, and listen. Regarding trust, Dr. Burnham has worked tirelessly to build trust with both her leadership team and her staff. She and her leadership team took learning walks and observed different classrooms. They used the effective inclusive classroom look-fors to assess classroom instruction. Multi-tiered written feedback was provided to all the parties involved in the learning walks. These were seen as very positive and informative. The leadership team is looking to build upon this practice and have more learning walks in the 2019-2020 school year. Regarding communication, Dr. Burnham does an outstanding job providing information to all the stakeholders. At times, she has stumbled at providing relevant information to the parent community prior to a school committee meeting. However, she has taken these opportunities to fine-tune her communication strategy and proactively get relevant information out to parents prior to upcoming school committee meetings. Her communications and professionalism with other municipal departments is nothing less than excellent. She continues to advocate for the students while understanding that every town department is essential to the district. The mutual respect that she has built with the town provides her with a strong foundation for her work in the year to come. This is particularly important during the budget season. Regarding organization, Dr. Burnham has a firm grasp that high standards are set by leadership. Her organizational abilities are remarkable. She continues to make improvements by example and from the ground up. Within the first few months of her arrival at the school, within the first few months of her arrival, the school websites were updated with consistent information that was much more user-friendly. The school committee has experienced this organization through the use of Google Docs, MASC lead workshop meetings. The MASC-led workshop meetings for the school committee, that is true, and a joint meeting with the select board. Her detailed entry plan presented to the school committee in August 2018 and her comprehensive entry plan updates throughout the year presented to the school committee in September, October, February, and March are a testament to her organization skills and work ethic. The superintendent has outlined and will develop a strategy for improvement based on her entry findings with the leadership team this summer. The areas of focus will likely be culture and climate, communication, transforming teaching and learning, and equity, access, and opportunity for students. Dr. Burnham's concern for students and staff, intellectual curiosity, and commitment have been a great asset to the Lunenburg Public Schools this year.
And I will have to sign this with Dr. Burnham. She's going to look at it. We're going to fix it so the red lines are gone. Okay? The little changes. And then we are going to post it on the website for everyone to actually see all of the comments.
Will that be in the school committee, under the school committee tab?
I don't know where we should put it.
Could be both.
It could be both because other
under the
districts have it right on the front page.
Right. So, Okay.
When I was looking at other districts, they have it right on the front page. So that will be done once we alter the little...
The editing.
Yeah.
Lines.
Okay, the editing. So I thank everyone for all of their input in getting this drafted and all the comments. So we have another year of work, and thank you so much for everything that you've done. I think you've done an outstanding job taking in so many bumps in the road. Up until last week, bumps. But
There
you've
were
done,
some bumps.
Yeah, you've handled it gracefully, and yeah, you're a strong leader, and I appreciate all of your work and time.
Thank you very, very
Yeah.
much. Appreciate all the support I've had.
Yeah.
Do you need a motion authorizing you to sign?
To sign it, yeah.
Yes.
I'll
I
make a
do.
motion authorizing Chairman Sorka to sign the superintendent evaluation as read.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to pass around. These need to be signed. Okay, then we're on to a donation from Gators.
Yes, so this evening, you have before you a donation from the Gators. It's outlined that they are donating for a series of purchases, color guard uniforms, color guard show flags, color guard parade flags, color guard flagpoles.
Oh, a lot of color guard.
Yep, so the donation in total is $1,400, and I would recommend that we accept this with gratitude.
So I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve donation from Gators as outlined by Dr. Burnham with gratitude.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oh, lunch pricing increase approval, finally, Nadine.
So the district recently underwent an audit as routine practice across the state, so I will, this recommendation for an increase to the school lunch prices came from that, so I'll turn it over to Nadine.
I would recommend that we raise the prices to $3 across the district. Currently, it is $3 for middle and high school and $2.75.
Bless you.
Bless you.
for elementary.
And this comes from the state,
Yes.
so we can't technically not do it.
Right.
Okay.
We need to do it for compliance.
Yes, okay.
Doesn't sound like there's...
There's no, I know, there actually is no
Motion.
it's mandated.
Then I will make a motion to approve the lunch pricing increase to $3 district-wide.
Second.
All in favor? I thank you. And I feel bad for that, you sat there all that time for that.
So they had to come on up sooner.
So, now we're back,
And then Mr. McKenna.
now we're to Mr. McKenna with the school improvement plan for, Heidi, do you want to sit next to him?
Emotional support. Are you guys emotional support principal?
So this is a mid-cycle review of the plan that you approved in May last year. I would like to take this opportunity to thank parents Jared Perrine, Tiffany Tavares, and Laura Kelly, who all participated as our parent reps on the council this year, and Krista Palma and Vicki Barbier, who represented the teaching staff, and also our community representative, Julie Bertrand. What I did in this plan was kind of go through each of the areas and kind of cull out the older information. There was a lot of 2015, 2014 information, put in some up-to-date information around what took place this year for 2018, 2019. Carol, I thank you for your close read. I misrepresented the curriculum maps being available for science. They are not available for science. And they are not available in ELA, math, and social studies in all K, 1 and 2, but we'll be addressing that. We also removed this afternoon the third grade that's on there. Our webmaster took care of that. So those pieces that you raised are already addressed. Just key areas that I would highlight. We had the great fortune, I think, this year of having David Ng, our technology specialist, working with the K-2 students. David came to us in late August He was not licensed to be a technology teacher, but he was a licensed teacher in Massachusetts, just not in that area. David transformed that technology program, and if you go on the school website and look at his page on there, you will see his thoughtful curriculum planning, his thoughtful way of looking at making digital tools available to students, kindergarten through grade 2. And to see what 5-year-olds to 7-year-olds are capable of doing with technology was really quite impressive. He reached out to colleagues at kindergarten, first grade, and second grade as he tried to measure his interactions with students around behavior management, and his progress in that regard was greatly improved throughout the course of the year. When he developed a component that related to student writing combined with student work that they were creating through the digital apps that they were using, he again reached out to kindergarten, first grade, and second grade colleagues to better understand what does writing instruction look like in kindergarten, in first grade, and second grade. And made some great efforts with books where they invented places and where they invented people, and where kindergarten actually created alphabet books as they were developing their understanding of the letters of the alphabet. The second area that I would call out is our work with the Early Grades Literacy Grant that was awarded to the school earlier this year, and I commend second grade teacher Nancy Chapdelaine, first grade teacher Kara Portermarsh, and kindergarten teacher Amy Raffaelli for their collaboration with me as we participated in district in statewide literacy institutes throughout the course of the year. They all presented our individual primary school work at a forum that took place late in May, and we had the opportunity to see what other districts who were participating in this grant were doing. So we brought some ideas back from it, but we also shared some ideas of what we were working on. I have collaborated with the new principal, Christina Gurton, to write another proposal for the grant. The grant is extending into next year, where the focus will be on early writing. I think that's a perfect area for the primary school to have as a focus. Both Christina and Christina has worked with this grant through her school in Worcester, and so both she and I spoke with the department coordinator for this grant. She encouraged us to apply. She also encouraged us to go to the second step of this grant, which provides the district, or provides the school, with a literacy consultant who will actually work with the school 295 hours. Part of that will be with individual classrooms, getting into individual classrooms, providing support, providing feedback, doing observations, non-evaluative, so that she can really, she or he, whoever the consultant is, can really forge a positive working relationship with the teachers. Another component to this grant is that there are teachers that are invited who are not part of the actual grant team, as Nancy, Kara, and Amy were this year, to have 8 professional development opportunities throughout the course of the year, 2 hours after school. There's a stipend compensating them for their participation in that, but that just expands the understanding of the grant work to another level within the school. So I left Christina with that draft. I emailed it to Liz this morning, and we're hoping to get that submitted by the July 5th deadline. It's a significant increase. It's as much as $36,000, which would be a $30,000 increase over what we got this year.
Wow.
So we're really hopeful that we will actually get that grant and have that professional learning experience at the school. Another professional learning experience that took place this year was the focus on Project READ, which is a phonics-based program. This took over the handwriting component that is in the school. Previously, we were using handwriting without tears. Project READ embeds a handwriting program with the phonics learning, with letter identification, learning letter sounds, and that is, as Kate mentioned earlier, was the focus of many of the teachers' professional practice goal this year, and their investment in that and hope will follow through with fidelity in upcoming years will maintain that as a consistent practice. Our second goal looks at the social emotional development of our students, and we had the opportunity this year to have the support of Seaside Consultants, who came in and worked directly with teachers with embedded professional development around positive behavioral interventions and supports. PBIS, as it's referred to in the field, is something that Christina is very familiar with and also eager to take on as a focus moving forward into next year. I also had our guidance counselor focus on reinforcing ruler, which is also a social emotional practice. Teachers have had multiple years of training on that, and we look for some reinforcement of those practices in grade 1 classes this year. I would look for her to expand that, although we're also looking at, is this the right match? Is ruler the right match for the school as it aligns with those PBIS practices? My hats off to retiring teacher
Maria?
No.
I was gonna say.
Lori
Oh, McDougal.
McDougal, Lori Mack.
who really spearheaded the reinstitution of our school mascot, Bamboo the Panda. Throughout her library lessons, Lori is a storyteller, and Lori has created a number of stories with Bamboo that she tells, but they infuse the ideas of respect and cooperation and collaboration into the message of those stories. She's hoping to take it on the road and do something outside the district, and maybe even do some written stories for publication. So I applaud her in bringing that as another resource for that social emotional focus. The third goal relates to the school safety and security. We have revised the emergency operation plan. We've had the opportunity to do a couple of practices for Alice drills in the context of the year. I'll have to say that Alice drills were coming in really in force as I was retiring, and they're really an intense experience in a primary school, and they have to happen, but it's really an intense experience for students and for teachers, and I applaud the teaching staff for the way they prepare kids and the way they think about the impact on the kids and the way they think about the aftermath and how do we make sure that we're guarding our kids from a level of anxiety that hopefully doesn't need to be in place. So that's a little review of the three goal areas, and I'm welcoming of any questions that you might have.
Anyone?
That's very thorough.
That was very thorough. Yeah.
If I could just make a statement,
Yeah,
let me.
yeah.
I know that you just went through the evaluation process for the superintendent. I have worked with veteran superintendents. I have worked with new superintendents over the course of my 20-plus year career as a principal, and I have to say that from day one, she has been a resource that's always there. You can get her on the phone, you can get her by email. She's in the schools, she knows what's going on in the schools. When she identified problems, or when I identified problems that needed to be addressed, Kate was right on it. And I applaud her in the work that she did. I've got no skin in the game anymore, so I'm not going to get any bonus points for saying that. But I really thank her for the work that she did in collaboration with the primary school and primary staff this year. It was extraordinary.
Well, before you
Yeah.
go, we have a little
Don't take
something
off.
to thank you as well for your extraordinary year with us.
I know.
It was a year of transition.
It was a huge year of transition,
Yes.
but
You know that you're going to spend some time on the vineyard.
I have a 9:30 reservation for the boat tomorrow.
Oh, my goodness, really? It's already out.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Thank you very, very much. It was a real bonus for me to have you with so much experience come in and lead the primary so that I could get up to speed with the rest of the district. The fact that you had that much experience that I could depend on was phenomenal. So.
Wish I could have done better.
Oh, my gosh.
I tried.
You left us in a great
Yeah,
place
thank
with
you.
that literacy work that's
I know,
underway.
outstanding.
And not everyone could
Yeah.
have come into an interim role and done that, so thank you very, very much.
Yeah, your energy and your love of the kids and learning is going to be missed. Yeah,
I think you got a good one.
I do
I've had a
too.
couple of days with her. She's
Yeah.
already looking at staff hiring, so this is good energy to her.
Oh, good.
So,
Yeah,
That's great to
yeah,
hear.
that is
she
good.
has my number, and she has my connection.
Oh, okay, good. She might be calling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
Ms.
Heidi.
Sheveen.
Personnel update? Oh, we're going to wait for him. He's going to sit back down, right? Yeah.
Can you invite Mr. Cassidy to the table for the personnel update?
So we've updated personnel matters. The retirement of Ed Siciliano, the paraprofessional at the primary school. She was at the retirement reception.
Yeah.
I got her notice too late to get her onto the agenda, so...
But I saw her there, yeah.
A very recent resignation that the district has received was Justin Sparks, a teacher down at the primary school. Promotional opportunity for him in another district, Fitchburg.
Fitchburg,
Rheingold.
assistant
Yep.
principal
Yep.
position.
Oh, that's
So,
wonderful, good for him.
Loss for us, great for him.
Yeah.
Plus, good opportunity for him.
Mhm.
Lunenburg is a good spot to learn the trade. So, want to wish him the best of luck. If you see him around, wish him luck.
Yeah.
So, that's it. Thank you.
That was it, right? FLAC update? Superintendent? Where is that?
Had reported last time that FLAC was looking for a new location for one of their programs, and they have recently entered into a lease agreement for a space in Leominster on Adams Street. This facility had been, during this last school year, utilized by the Leominster Public Schools. They are vacating this space. It is not one of the schools in Leominster, it's another space, but they're vacating, and it will serve the program for the collaborative very well. They're also moving a couple of classrooms. 2 classrooms currently located in Air are going to be moving to Shirley at the end of the month. There will be some classrooms in Shirley for the extended year program, and those folks will be remaining there. One of 3 classrooms will be moving from Air Shirley Regional High School to the North Middlesex Regional High School in Townsend at the end of the month. The classroom will be moved, that is being moved, will hold their extended year services in Townsend and remain there for the next year. There will also be a second new classroom opening at North Middlesex for the new year. And 2 high school classrooms are going to remain at Air Shirley High School for the summer and for next year. So there's a lot of movement. Additionally, there will be a move of an office space currently located in Clinton for one of the programs. It will be moving to the offices for the FLAC Collaborative. However, there will be some spaces maintained in Clinton for actual work with students for the upcoming year. The The update was provided in May relative to where we were with the budget. All that is looking good. The final year-end report on finances will be included in their annual report that I will be receiving over the summertime. They've set their meeting dates for the upcoming year. They typically meet on Thursday mornings. I will continue to be this committee's representative to the FLAC Executive Board, but I will also be serving as on the Warrant Committee and the Space
I saw
Subcommittee
that.
as well. I was on the
I
Warrant
love that.
Subcommittee this year. They've added another one for me for next
I
year.
thought I saw you in 3 places.
Oh, I might be.
I did.
They were-
You're on
I
the
tried to
space-
nominate people who
You're-
weren't present at the meeting.
Okay,
but-
governance and space. You have,
Oh, yes, the governance, yes.
and space.
Mhm.
You'll never skip a meeting, right?
No.
You have like 1, 2,
lot of
3 subcommittees.
Yep. It's because I showed up to all of the meetings.
Oh, good for you.
So,
Got one with 3.
so yes.
Yep. Okay.
So that's an update, and as I said, I will receive their annual report over the summer at some point, so likely I'll put that on the agenda for our workshop meeting in August, just
Okay.
so that you have the report.
That brings us to the school committee calendar update.
Yes.
Yes.
So you have the draft calendar there with
Topics.
with proposed dates and
Yep.
topics. Obviously, those topics are tentative. The first date there is August 15th. That's a Thursday evening. I did some outreach to find out availability of all for the 15th based on information that I had gotten prior when I was trying to set meetings in July. Jim had provided that he was gone through August 14th, but apparently he's back on August 14th. I have checked with Dorothy Presser. She is also available August 14th. So at this point,
Oh, we could change it back to
we could change it
okay.
back to the Wednesday, August 14th, or stick to a Thursday evening, August 15th. It's whatever the group wishes.
14th would work better for me,
Okay.
just personally, but I will defer to everybody else since
Yeah, either date works for me.
it's been my calendar. It's been the difficult
14th
one.
better for me, too.
It doesn't
Okay.
matter to me, so we'll just go with the
Fine,
14th,
we'll-
regular. The regular.
So that's our workshop.
That
Yeah,
would-
that's our
yep.
workshop.
Carol, does that work for you as well?
I think it does.
I was holding us up from starting earlier that night, so
Oh, okay.
So what could the start time be on the Wednesday evening? Could we do a 6 o'clock? Are people available at 6
I am,
o'clock?
I can.
yeah.
Okay.
Do it earlier if you need it.
So can I.
So August 14th will be our next meeting
With Dorothy.
with Dorothy Presser from MASC.
Okay.
I shared with most of you over the last week the governance team rubric that I received as part of the new superintendent induction program, year 1. I think perhaps for us to look at that rubric as a team and do a bit of a self-assessment and maybe identify areas that we want to grow might be a good exercise for us as a team. In addition to some other items that Dorothy would lead for us.
Correct, yeah. Good. And that's our next meeting.
That is our next meeting.
Wow. That's
We've
because-
never had a break that long.
Because that's just,
on
I don't
these
think
dates.
everybody's available.
Well, it's typically we have
Right.
one in July,
Yeah,
like just
right.
with people's, people are
But
off
we,
and
I don't
away in
think we
July.
have a
But we've
quorum.
never had a non-July one.
So the way this
don't.
will have to work this summer, we will find out what the meeting dates are for the Board of Selectmen.
They're only missing one.
Okay. And then we would
Only
be
one.
looking for you all to come into the office at a time that's convenient for you to sign warrants prior to the meeting so that we can get those warrants up to Town Hall for the Board of Selectmen. But we'll communicate that out once we have information on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, when I went and met with the town manager, she was really wishing she had our schedule for the summer months, because they're only going off one meeting, and like the 4th of July week, I think, and then that's it.
Wow.
Wow. So, okay, second public comment is open, and that includes anyone at this table. Do you have any comments, public comment? No? All set? Okay. Reports, do we have any reports? Finance Committee?
I do have a
Carol?
Finance Committee report. Here we go. Finance Committee met last Thursday. They put off their reorganization because they had 2 members missing. They were talking about financial policies. A lot of questions came up about why is there no money when we want, the budget cycle, and so much money goes into stabilization and so much money goes into different funds. And they talked about how those are by policy.
Yep.
And
Town
that
policy.
They are
Yeah.
Board of Selectmen policy,
Mhm.
not FinCom policy.
Correct.
FinCom can recommend, but it is not their policy. So they talked about that. They talked about a walkability study through the center of town that they just walked around to see
Yes.
how the sidewalks and such
Mhm.
were. And the question came up about, there are grants available because of school children traffic in the area. And the question was, how far away from the schools do the kids live that they are bused? And I said, I didn't know.
I thought it was,
I know the law is 1.5 miles.
yeah,
But is that actually
it
what
is,
happens?
it is.
Yes.
Okay, it is.
I don't know when my kids actually got picked up.
They did, because it's to 6th grade. There,
Okay.
it's a legal, it's a requirement to bus, right? Am I correct
Okay,
on this?
6th
I
grade.
thought it was primary, like the lower level, and then
So
once
we
they got
bused
to a
in
certain...
Lunenburg, like, to the primary and elementary levels, we always had even as close as, say, Whiting Street. Once you hit middle school,
Then it wasn't...
there was a
Yeah.
change.
Within an
Yep.
hour,
Mhm.
1.5 miles.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a question about that, because there's a grant available to get these sidewalks in better shape.
Which, I remember...
Did they
that-
mention
yeah.
which grant?
Yeah.
Was it the Safe Schools, the Safe Routes to Schools grant?
No, it
So
didn't.
that
John
grant...
just said there is a grant, that's all.
So there is money available through the Safe Routes to Schools. However, the school has to be registered in this program, participate in this program for up to 6 months before they're eligible for money. So this year, we submitted for the middle school and the Turkey Hill to be part of this program. We won't be eligible for any grant monies that come for at least 6 months' time. I think we're maybe at 5 months at this point. The primary school had previously been part of this program. We talked about this earlier in the year. Mr. Londa, myself, and Jack Rodequins from the DPW, relative to what grant projects we could fund relative or connected to the primary school.
Mhm.
And we, based on their experience, if you're talking about a sidewalk on Massachusetts Avenue, that's pretty comprehensive, involving, engineers and
Oh, yeah.
and the sewer department and many others.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And it would be a much more significant undertaking. Now, also a significant undertaking would be addressing concerns around the driveway to the primary school. Those became obvious to me a little bit later in the fall. I had conversations with both chiefs as an example, during open house evenings or when there are performances at school.
Oh.
Parents park up and down the driveway,
You don't need to talk
oftentimes on
loud.
both sides.
We've experienced.
It makes it very difficult should an emergency
Oh,
vehicle need to
absolutely.
get through. So I think, there was a request about extending the sidewalk that comes along that front field at the primary school. In my mind, I think that we need to explore widening the
Oh, I was
driveway.
going to say, why wouldn't we, yeah.
Versus
Yes.
installing or continuing
Yes.
that sidewalk.
Yes.
But again, that would be a much more significant undertaking.
Sure.
So please know that conversations between the departments about these types of concerns have happened and they are ongoing. Whether or not they fit within the parameters of some of the grants, the Safe Routes to
Right.
Schools as an example, the scope of that project might be a little bit too
Yeah.
big.
They were looking primarily for residents in general and for economic development. But it came up that there could be money for...
But we might be able to, once now the Turkey Hill and the middle school
Right?
also benefits the high school since it's
Sure.
the same building, although high school age is not, it was not a school level that was eligible for the program. There might be an opportunity to extend some sidewalks on the Oak Ave side of the campus.
Yeah.
So we'll be taking a look at that.
I will bring that up to them.
So that when the cars that pull up for Turkey Hill pickup can just block the entire way of sidewalk on that side of the road? Have you ever driven there?
Yes.
At pickup time, it
Yes.
goes all the way to Main Street.
Last week, on Thursday,
Last day of school.
I had the challenge of being present at the 8th grade completion ceremony, award ceremony.
Oh, my goodness.
Handing out
Yes.
the certificates to our 8th graders, and then arriving late to the 10 o'clock completion ceremony for the 5th grade, and the challenge finding a place to park. And I did drive because it was a bit of a misty day, and I thought, well, maybe I'll be able to get there faster if I drive. I think I would have been able to be in the building faster had I walked, actually.
I bet you would.
I'm
But yes.
sure you would have.
I had to, pull in by the utility garage and park near the dumpster.
Oh, okay, yep,
so-
yep.
We've done that.
Yep.
Also, Mr. Beardmore requested a meeting, a joint meeting with the school committee and the Board of Selectmen with FinCom to discuss process going into another budgeting year. He also requested an overview from the town manager on how precisely priorities are set when building a budget. So those would be very interesting meetings. So I mentioned that. And then there was also a lot of discussion about the increasing school enrollment. That was what was at FinCom.
Thank you. Did anybody have any school committees? Oh, wait,
No.
PTO, I did not go because it was the end of the year one and I had
School councils, I don't
Yeah.
know if we need to throw this on a topic for future discussion.
oh, because of your new,
I will need to
okay. We are going
look
to have to
at
move
someone
that.
for the primary. I will not be able to do that.
Okay, so we're going to put that
Not
on.
on a, well, that's
Yeah.
what I figure, I'll float it to topics because I have.
Okay,
something
we're
else
going to put that on topics for
For-
discussion.
Topic for
Primary?
Yeah,
So I thought I was on the primary.
you're on one of them. Wait,
I'm on-
are you?
Maybe a different
Maybe
one.
I'm not.
I'm on high school.
I'm primary.
I
I
can't,
have Turkey
You're
Hill.
Turkey Hill. Are you on middle school?
probably wrong. That
I'm
happens
high
frequently.
school.
Okay, then I'm not. Great.
You might have used to been on it.
She
Well, I was this
primary,
year,
yeah.
But yeah.
I
It was
was
recommended.
Yeah, I...
driving here thinking about that, and I hadn't looked at the meeting
Hi.
minutes from that meeting. So,
What do you have, Jim?
No, I still have the Wendy on the primary school.
Oh.
On my notes.
So maybe that, oh, okay.
We'll have to check.
Maybe the
I think they
timing was
came up
bad,
with
though.
The last notes that it
But-
was wrong.
No, that wasn't that one.
That was,
Something
No,
else.
The minutes were wrong.
all right,
Yeah.
we'll throw it on topic for future discussion.
And it might
Figure
just be the
out.
time that it starts, because it's at
I
4:15.
was capital planning, it was different.
Yeah, that was the one,
Yeah.
Went to 4 o'clock this year.
at 4 o'clock.
It used to be 4:15.
Okay.
Depending on the days, well, I've got middle school.
So do we want to put it on a topic?
Yes, we're going to
for
put it on,
future? Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
And capital planning, I know has not met, correct? No, right?
No.
They're not gonna. So, future topics, the school council will have to update that.
School council,
Fundraising.
fundraising, and planning board liaison.
Planning.
And
Which we-
also meeting with the Board of Selectmen and the FinCom.
I feel like we have,
I feel,
We keep writing that down.
well, no, we only had planning board, we did not ever have the FinCom, we had select board.
Select Board. Well, I think when it was brought up initially, I said FinCom, along with, when I requested it. Whether we never put it down, I don't know.
No, we did, we just didn't, we haven't had time, we were waiting for their new board,
Oh, yeah.
because they were having a turnover of 2 people.
So that's why I said we need to
Yeah.
put it back down.
Yeah.
throw out some dates in our next meeting, figure out some dates.
I think
for a while.
they've been discussing in their meetings about meeting with us as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
Okay.
So,
so.
I know we tentatively put it on as a topic for the October 16th
Yeah, it's on there,
meeting.
we have it on there.
But if,
Yeah. It's our meeting, though, they would have to come to our meeting, right? Last time we
We
went
went to their
theirs.
meeting last time, that is true.
So they would have to, they'd all have to be available to come to our
Do
meeting.
we want to bump this up
We would
and
invite
see if we
them
can
to
put it
it.
on the August?
I think,
What August? We're not putting in August. We
At the
have one
workshop meeting,
worksheet,
we
no.
We couldn't have
As a
it?
topic to discuss, not to invite.
Well, not to invite them, that's
No,
no.
not to, no, to discuss at that meeting.
To discuss.
Because here's the thing, if we throw it out
select
till
a date,
October,
Jimmy?
good luck, it'll be
Yep.
June before we have a meeting,
and it's going to be...
if you're with
too late
multiple
to decide.
boards.
Well, so wait, what do you mean? You want to
So my thought
discuss
is-
having a meeting with them? We're not going
At our
to.
August 15th workshop, could we start before we begin, if Dorothy's with us? Like, just a quick topic to throw out, identify some dates, to be able to reach out to them.
So it
I'm
means
not
I don't know.
sure. I'm not even going to have any idea of my schedule for the fall, October and August.
Right, so we,
But if we're inviting them to ours,
We already picked,
October 16th.
October.
We
that's
could-
the one we're actually inviting them
Yes.
to?
We might
Okay.
potentially, I think,
I thought it was
when you
public
think about it,
participation at that
if you're going to have 3 different boards at one meeting, I don't think we could all fit if it were hosted at Town Hall.
No, we can't have
So
that.
it maybe makes sense to be here.
That's the
That's what
16th.
it's listed as.
Yeah.
It's listed here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't...
So should we reach out to them if
We'd have to
that's the
reach out.
date we've identified?
We haven't approved, did we approve that? Yeah,
No, we
okay.
didn't approve it.
No, we did.
well,
We
All
did,
of
but we had to
the- All of
change.
the items in the
We
agenda
have-
Are tentative.
here, they're all tentative.
Right,
It's more the meeting dates that
the dates are,
set.
Right, or,
the dates are good.
yeah,
Settle on the dates.
yep.
So I would suggest then that we extend the meeting to both boards to join us on October 16th. That gives them
plenty of
months.
time.
to get it on their calendars and get,
And then at that time, though, we really couldn't have much else on the agenda.
Right.
Yeah, if
Right,
we're-
because
if we're
I
I would have to make adjustments to
Other
I think
things.
my goals are there, I could move them up
We
earlier.
have to because we can't have them,
That's going to be...
that would be a very
Yep.
long meeting.
Sure
Yep.
would.
So, okay. So, do you want to email them, or do you want me to? I would just email the chair of Terry and Tom. And then they would throw it out to their committees, the date.
Right, because Board of Selectmen should be meeting next week, on Tuesday,
Mhm.
All summer.
All summer
all
long.
summer, except July 4th. But they don't meet, they don't typically meet first week, do they? Aren't they set?
they meet every week. except
Yeah, they
for
meet-
last week.
Last, oh, it's
If
the
it's a
last week they
5-week
don't?
If it's a
Right.
5-week month, they don't.
They meet all the time, yeah.
Oh, I
Okay,
thought-
yeah.
I
mhm.
can
I thought they were off one.
extend that email.
The Thursday.
Okay. All right.
Come on.
I think it's every week.
Are there any other topics for future discussion? No? Okay. Then we can adjourn at
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
8:56. Yep.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So